Hi everyone and welcome to the Investors Corner podcast. This week I am joined by Mike and Dan. We're going to talk about locations of buy-to-lets. We're going to talk about, is the high street dead? Where is the location that's best to invest? And we're going to get stuck into the Reading area as well, which is where you specialise, Dan, where your business operates. And talk, generally speaking, what sort of inquiries you're getting from buy-to-let investors. And then Mike's going to cover a little bit around what's going on from a rental point of view in that area as well. But first of all, Q1 done in 2024. How is life as an estate agent in the property market?
Really good, actually. Really good. I think we came into this year thinking it would be a bit more of a challenge from last year for a number of different reasons. But actually, I think it stayed pretty level and the activities are there. People want to move. There's a lot of people putting their house on the market to move. I think the difference I'm seeing now is a lot more home movers. I think people are needing a bit more space, schools, families, things like that. And there's a lot more people that need to sell to buy moving in the market, but that actually creates a more of a level playing field for people in terms of prices and timeframes, not rushed into buying maybe the wrong house up they might have done a couple of years ago, trying to bid on anything to get the great mortgage deal. And now it's a bit more sensible.
Yeah, I was on an industry podcast yesterday with someone from up north somewhere like
anything north of Watford. He's got a nosebleed.
Somewhere like Blackpool sort of direction, that sort of area.
Up north, isn't it?
Yeah, proper up north. And someone else who's in Australia, who's a buying agent, owns a buying agency business in Australia. And we were talking about all the markets. It's a bit of a weird shaped triangle, but the south of England, the north of the UK, and Australia being the other point. But we all agreed that basically it's a normal market. There's buyers, there's sellers, prices are relatively stable. If you get the pricing wrong or you use a bad agent, you won't sell. And if the agent's on the ball and the marketing's right and the price is right, you will sell. There is properties available for flexibility of choice now, rather than kind of being narrowed into a corner and almost bullied by yourself into buying a property, which was the panic that we saw previously. Yeah. And whether it's the UK or Australia, it's normal in the eyes of those estate agents, which is what you basically said there as well, Dan.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly that. It just feels normal, which for people like myself thrive in it when it's like this. So I love it.
Yeah, it's a good market for estate agents.
Yeah.
So I did a video the other day, Mike, because I saw a retail, Ted Baker, probably, somewhere that we all shopped 6 years ago and we haven't done for the last 5. Yeah. But Ted Baker closed down a couple of high street shops, and then it got me thinking again around the high street. And is the high street dead? Is it gone? Is it irrelevant? And it went a little bit crazy on Instagram, but one of the comments that someone put on there was, the future is simply homes and warehouses and everything will be delivered to your door.
I saw that comment
and I was like, wow.
Thought-provoking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a bit dystopian, wasn't it? But not untrue.
But not untrue, yeah. Yeah.
Amazon Prime, everything's kind of coming to doorsteps now. And the whole community spirit of the high street definitely has gone and accelerated since COVID. But spinning this round as an investor, is the opportunity for the investor to buy the commercial units on the high street and change of use into resi, or is the opportunity for the investor to buy away from the premium of being close to a town centre or a high street? Because you do get a premium, Wokingham or Reading or Bracknell or wherever, in the close proximity, walking distance to a high street or a town, you do pay a little bit more for a house, typically speaking, especially in the likes of Wokingham and places like that. Is that no longer relevant? And actually, through an investor, not necessarily from a family, you've just bought something, and I don't want to kill your dream saying that your price is not relevant. But for a family, it is vital because you can walk to the park, you can go to the Tesco's. But for a tenant and a buy-to-let investor, is it not worth the premium? You're going to get the same rental 2 miles outside of the town. And the market that you work in, kind of dominantly the Shinfield, Arborfield, sort of 3 Mile Cross area, is not walking distance to Reading as a sort of town or borderline a city. But the rental prices are unbelievable. The yields are unbelievable, really, aren't they?
People not needing to be near a town is quite obvious at the moment. There's a number of things why. So you've got a lack of rental properties available. Therefore, probably the tenants are a little less maybe picky on needing to be near somewhere and actually going, well, you know what, we can commute, we can get the bus or whatnot if we really need to get into those high street bigger areas. Certainly areas like Shinfield, they've got enough there that's nearby, but it's really easy commutable to M4's around the corner to jump on. Green Park's not far, Reading's not far. So actually it works really well. So the prices you're buying a home at to invest at are probably slightly better than what you're getting in the centre of town, but the yield is maybe then for better because the rental's the same. So the lack of properties makes that.
It's a fair point on the tenants, because tenants can basically, if the property's right. I mean, I spoke to one of the shareholders of one of our companies yesterday that was looking for a 2-bed property, happy to basically anywhere within a 10-mile radius, just about being the right block, the right type of property for him, his partner, and his newborn. Effectively, it wasn't location was not the relevance that was there before.
I'll throw high streets back at you and have a point of view of you've got to look at what type of town it is. So again, if we concentrate on the location where we know, I don't think Wokingham will ever struggle, because I grew up in Wokingham, lived in Wokingham. I have never shopped in Wokingham. Nobody shops in Wokingham. People buy coffee, dinner.
Go to an estate agent.
Go to the organic market, etc., etc. It's a social hub.
How that Robert Dyers is still cooking. How that
Air
place
fryers.
is still selling like tools, like shovels and things. I've got no idea.
There's a planning application to turn Robert Dyers in 64 flats.
There you go.
With smaller retail underneath it. So
houses
there you
and
go.
warehouses.
Houses and warehouses. So if you look at a Wokingham, which is, for those who aren't local, a commuter market town, a traditional old-fashioned town, against what is a shopping centre town like a Slough or a Reading, for example, those towns, in my opinion, have to change. And I'm seeing it in Reading. Half of the Oracle's about to be knocked down, or getting planning to be knocked down, to turn into about 400 flats. Yep. And then the old House of Fraser split into 3 different units for, I think, a bowling alley, food hall, and mini golf or something like that.
The dynamics of Reading is changing.
They have to
rapidly.
Otherwise it'll empty, because I see these big shops now. I've got a 5-year-old. We like to go shopping with him to look for something. No shop ever has his size. You go into Next, never has his size. It's like a showroom for their website.
Yeah.
You go into Curry's and try and buy a TV. They don't have it in stock. They tell you to buy it online. These people are making themselves redundant, by the way. But it's just a showroom, so you can then go and buy online and have it delivered to your door. Yep. There's no other point in going shopping. The only time I actually managed to buy something was I went to our local bike shop the other day, and so helpful, absolute expertise, told us what we wanted, helped us, and then threw in a couple of freebies. So I'll be back with them next time. They've got a customer for life now. Mm-hmm. But that's a unique, super local company that's been there, 40 years and moved with the times of what they stock.
You can see how Reading's changing rapidly, because there's no number of things that have changed. I mean, even if you talk about it from a point of view of even going out and drinking and things like that, I'm not saying that's what we all should be doing, but there isn't that scene there in Reading anymore. Yep. That doesn't happen. People don't seem to go out past 10 o'clock. It's very quiet.
Reading, you had Pub Street, you had Shopping Street, and you had Shopping Centre. It's a very traditional town centre. Yeah.
And now it's changed rapidly. It seems like it's just going to be small pubs, fancy restaurants, a nice place on the riverside. And now they're turning that, as you know, into, like you mentioned, more those high-end apartments, serviced,
leisure,
a lot built to rent. A lot of built to rent around Reading. So it is changing very, very quickly there. It's a very different place. It's not where it used to be. But they're obviously adapting. And I know we don't do, say, Windsor directly, but I went to Windsor 2 weeks ago. Took my other half there. We had a little wander around, stayed the night. And actually, it's a really small little town centre. They were busy, but they've got a department store called Daniels. I walked around going, how are they? They're so busy still in there. It felt very full.
Unbelievable toy shop, by the way. You're not old. You don't have kids. You wouldn't know.
Upstairs is
unreal. But I was thinking to myself, those department stores are genuinely disappearing, aren't they?
Yes.
You think that's what's gone in Reading. They are not there anymore. And they serve
Windsor's got everything that we're talking about here with the bike, with Windsor, with the local butcher on my high street, that's changed its dynamic from being the butcher, had a little bit of a social media following, but they were the butcher, and they were very, very hot topic in lockdown. They were doing a lot of really cool stuff on social media to keep business. What they've started doing on Saturday and Sunday is they've come out of the shop, they've set themselves up in front of the shop, and they're doing bacon and sausage sandwiches.
Nice.
So in the morning, you now go to the high street,
and you get drawn by the smell.
It's an experience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Does that then come back to maybe what Wokingham, as you mentioned, still does right, because it's still that community feel, maybe hub?
You
Windsor,
go for an
Reading
experience.
Yeah,
you go for the Nando's.
Reading isn't that though, is it? As much
no,
anymore?
not at all.
That's what it's not. It feels like it's just apartments in Reading
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's a key thing, I think, for business owners to remember that, with the bike scenario that you talk about there, with the butcher, with the bacon sandwich, with the lack of personality in Reading that we're talking about now, it is the experience that pulls you in. Otherwise, you just do it on your phone. You just go onto Amazon.
Yeah.
And Reading, by the way, for anyone watching and listening, gets used by every market research company in the UK as the average town. So if it's happening in Reading, it's happening in every medium-sized town in the UK, essentially.
Yeah, that whole bowling, mini golf, food hall, sometimes cinema, the Pizza Hut or the Don Benny's or the Frankie and Benny's or whatever the kind of little food bit is. That's the kind of experience then, isn't it? It's like there's a birthday party or there's someone's got a treat.
And you can go and that can cost, as a family, that can be £200 spent. And I wasn't spending £200 in Debenhams.
No. Well, I couldn't spend £200. The thing is, as well, when I'm talking from a male perspective, but I'm assuming it's the same for everybody. But I used to like going shopping and trying on clothes if I wanted to buy something. You can't anyway now, because the choice is rubbish in the shops, because, like you said, they are just showrooms for a few bits, and you order online. So even though I don't like it, everything I order pretty much is Amazon or online shopping. It's delivered. Yesterday, I was working from home. The doorbell went 4 times. Loads of the missus' parcels coming through. I'm answering for it, but you don't need to go shopping.
Yeah, the amount of cardboard in people's recycling bins these days that are brown Amazon is unbelievable. I mean, talking pricing, pricing, inflation obviously has been halted a little bit now, but it has been out of control for 2 years. And I did a funny little post the other day that I got back from holiday and I had to go to Tesco's to get 3 bags of shopping because you got nothing. And I was like, right, it cost me £7,000. Obviously, it didn't cost me £7,000, but it wasn't far off £200 for 3 bags of shopping, 1 trolley's worth of shopping, which is a fair amount of cash. And Tesco's have reported today that they've had a £300 million increase in their profits. So their profits have gone from 2.5 billion to just over 2.8 billion.
Club card
data. But it does just show that the narrative around the credit crisis or the cost of living crisis, and whether it's the Ukrainian war or inflation, that shopping is having to go up because of these things. But they're not making less profit, are they?
Or prices went up and once they've gone up, they never come down again.
Yeah.
I think that's more the line. They hold the line, don't they?
Once you've hit £1 for a tin of beans, what's the point in bringing them back down to 80p or 60p when people are prepared to pay £1? And
your local shops, your local butcher, your local bike places, when you've got that firepower with, a brand like Tesco's that's got all of that data, that's got that ability to be online, offline, warehouse-led, you can't compete with that. So maybe the future is houses and warehouses to bring it all back round.
Yeah, you can't compete with it. I even see it when I was I go back to Wokingham again, but I know people don't do much shopping there maybe, but I saw some signs that were still up from COVID where it said, do you remember the eat out, spend out and shop local?
Yeah.
But actually, if you shop local in Wokingham or probably anywhere, they're not really local shops anyway.
Very few.
The rental prices to have those units are so high. They are big brands, I don't know how many people are going to Sweaty Betty's in Wokingham to buy things. It's quite expensive. So it's not even shopping local with those anyway, is it?
No, absolutely. Brands. Yeah. So from a high street point of view then, I guess, the advice on this podcast or the topic for someone that's looking for a buy-to-let in 2024 actively, where is the best place for them to look from a location point?
I guess look at what those local towns are actually doing about it. If they're just dying, well, there's no point buying near that local town because people won't be attracted to go there. If that town is actively doing something about it and changing the use of that square footage, square meterage of retail space that's sat empty, then it is attractive, because you do want something to do with your kids at the weekend. You do want something to do with your partner at the weekend, not which just isn't shopping anymore, because you'll do that on or the majority of it online.
I think it sits as well the type of rental you want and how long you want it for, and so on and so forth. But for me, if I talk specifically, say, about Shinfield or Spencer's Wood, these little surrounding, say, villages just outside of Reading, there's a lot of work in Reading. There's a big train station here that goes into London. There's a lot of people that commute. So actually, where we are, 15 minutes on the bus, if you want to get a bus, or driving into Reading, sort of 10, 15 minutes, it's not far away for you to do that. But you've still got the benefit of being a bit quieter. You're probably going to be investing in a house where you're going to get a family of kids. We've got great schools in the area. So you're going to have someone who's going to rent it for a longer period of time. So that's good as well. So less handovers you do with rental, the less chance you've got of being empty and losing out on money. So it's a really popular area for a number of reasons. And we've still got a couple of local pubs you can walk to. And, you've got your hairdressers, you've got your post office, you've got your co-op, and there's a little being built, and everything's nearby. So it's not as if you're disconnected. You've got everything you need with the community feel, a bit quieter. But if you need to hop into Reading, you can. And areas as well, there's other areas across the UK like this, but you may have heard of Green Park. It's obviously a huge place, business district. And there's a lot of work there, a lot of IT work there. There's now the new Elizabeth line that runs from there straight to London or to Reading as well. And we've got a lot of people that work there with families, come over from overseas, contracts 2-3 years. They want a house to rent. Mm-hmm. They will pay good money to rent a house. There isn't a lot of them available. And if you've got a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house in and around Shinfield, Spencer's Wood, not far from Green Park, they will pay good money for that because there isn't many of them.
It's a good point on the community, because when we look at the community, and a lot of the people that mentioned on that post about the high street, is it dead? But a lot of people saying how sad it was that kind of almost a generation above us, our parents and grandparents, would pop to the high street to get the local newspaper, to have a chat with the newsagent for half an hour, to then go into the local greengrocers and have a chat with them for half an hour. It was the experience. I keep going back to the experience.
It's a bit hypocritical though, because it's the customers that kill.
I'm not
the business.
Yeah, I was going to say it's people's fault who are moaning, because we're not the ones spending the money in the shops.
Yeah, but my point on the community is the community isn't lost, because if you look at Shinfield Meadows, you look at Woodhurst Park, you look at Jennings Park, you look at these developments that have been built within the last 10 years that have got 1,500 houses on average. The community in those estates is so isolated and so siloed to just those, and it's a strong vibing community. I mean, Woodhurst Park, around the corner from here, the dads have got a football group, and you can't get into that football Monday night football five-a-side unless you're a Woodhurst Park resident. The school is there for the parents, so there's PTA, there's all of the little, even when it was the Jubilee, they had their own Woodhurst Park setup where the community had come together, and they had Frozen characters there and all sorts. And I was thinking, because my brother lives there with his family, so we went to it. And I was thinking, how is this being put together? It's not the school hasn't put it together, X, Y, and Z. The community is, and you see the same at Shinfield Meadows.
It is the people.
Yeah.
It is the people within it. So Shinfield Meadows is 7-8 years old when it originally started, still being built now, so it'd been almost finished. And there's a lot of new families over time that have come to this area, and they've set up WhatsApp groups. They have those groups between them, they chat between them, they set up events. There's a road in Shinfield Meadows called Maybank that becomes like the hub of it at Christmas and the summer and barbecues, where everyone comes to there to do events, and people want to be involved. I think that's the difference in these little micro communities. People want to be involved and create that experience. And have that freely throughout the people that are there.
Yeah. So the community is not dead; it's just moved.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
It's moved on a bit, and the people are controlling it in a different way. So maybe they're not going to the greengrocers to speak to everybody and get the gossip, but they're talking on a big WhatsApp group. I'm in a WhatsApp group with my road and the neighbouring road, and to be fair, all people do is help each other out, and it's actually quite nice.
Facebook groups.
I mean,
how big are Facebook groups now?
Unbelievably, Pat. I mean, you can't take your dog and it goes to the toilet without clearing it up and not being seen as someone's ring doorbell. I don't do that anyway. But that's the point. Everyone looks out for each other. Even we had Not now. We had a little bit for a while where you always get it everywhere, people stealing cars or being a bit suspicious. Now, if any suspicious cars out on the WhatsApp group, everyone's checking, looking out for each other. The neighbours going, don't worry, I've checked, I know who it is. But it's just that nice feeling of feeling a bit more protected. The people around are all good people.
Yeah, people want to be part of a tribe, don't they? And that's the tribe now is these community estates.
We use that as well, to be frank, when we're marketing at home. It's a really good selling point when we speak to people, put the marketing. There is a WhatsApp group for this road. They get together.
Yeah, you need to know there's a community.
People want that. I think people want to know that even if you don't want to be involved with your neighbours, you got good people nearby. Yeah. And I think it's nice.
I think for an investor, it's a nice way to do your market research as well. If it's an area you don't know, or even if you do know, or you think you know it through the eyes of a homeowner, to look at it and say, right, is there a Facebook group or a WhatsApp group for that community? And are you allowed into it? And what's the feedback and what's the questions? It's a nice way to find the kind of the busybody honesty. You can
feel the vibe of it, if it's really snipey or if it's really helpful as well. Because I'm a member of maybe 10 or 15 just from being an estate agent, and you can feel the difference between them by how people ask questions, how people answer questions, and you can get a feel for who the type of resident is. Definitely.
We've got one called the Shim. I think it's the Shimfield sort of free collect group or something like that. There must be like 3,000 members in and around the area. And when people, whether it's babies, toys, or things like this, they just become of no use. They put them up there, and the first person or first people who say they'd like it, they're allowed to collect it for free. There's no money involved. It's just sharing bits like that. So things like that are just such a cool idea.
Yeah. So bringing it back to the property market, then we've seen interest rates drop a little bit back end of last year, climb a little bit at the start of this year, inflation kind of level out a little bit to not an overriding concern anymore. Property prices fairly flat, kind of within 0.5% of where maybe they were 6 months ago. So what does the rest of 2024 look like through the eyes of a property investor? If we're looking at an investor that's thinking of buying a 2, 3 or 4 bedroom, depending on their budget, what does it look like through the eyes of an investor? Are there good deals out there? And by good deals, I just mean well-priced properties that would make a good buy-to-let because the seller's motivated, not necessarily screwing the seller for a low price, but just that makes sense mathematically. And do we think that in 24 months' time, prices will still be level? Do we think they'll have gone down, gone up? Just looking at your patch and your area and obviously the expertise that you've got there, won't hold you to it, but it is on camera. What's your gut feeling?
Gut feeling. So I think there will be fair deals. I think that's the way to probably say it for investment buyers, because there's a little bit more choice, because people that want to move and there's less people in a position to do so. What I mean by that is people still want to buy, but they need to sell theirs. So it creates more property on the market, more choice. It's a little bit slower. So if you're an investment purchaser, cash in the bank or buy-to-let mortgage ready to go, you're an attractive proposition to close somebody's chain up or get a fair deal on that home.
Yeah.
If it's priced correctly, still be warned that those properties will go quick. So you still need to be active and ready to jump on the good ones.
Won't you?
Yeah, you will be in competition because the home movers want to secure those homes if they're the right price and good houses, and we'll still go over what they're being marketed at. But what you'll also see is some properties sat there and will come down in price. Doesn't mean they're bad houses, but when they do come down in price, they're probably reaching that point where you're able to get them at the right price. So don't be put off as well by houses that might be sat there a little bit longer. So I think there will be more choice. Things are probably going to take a bit longer to find buyers than they were 18 months ago when they were selling in 10 minutes. Market-wise, next 24 months, it all depends, doesn't it, really, on if we see inflation to continue to get better and the base rate goes down.
Election's going to have a bit of an impact on things as well.
That's going to as well. So, I mean, I'd like to think that will come down. I've got my mortgage to renew at some point in the future, not too long, so it'd be nice if it comes down. So I do think, I don't think price is going to significantly jump, though. I don't think there's going to be enough impetus in the next 2 years for them to suddenly go up again like 10%. Yeah. But I do think that the prices will hold a line, maybe jump up a tiny bit, but be a bit easier, a bit more free moving. When those mortgage rates come down, if they come down to around 3%, it's much more palatable, much more normal. So maybe some of the people who have been holding back jump into that 4-bed because they can make the 3-bed work are just going to freely start moving or looking to buy.
Yeah, it feels like, generally speaking, in the south, you read a little bit of the data and look at the avocado statistics, Mike, as well. But it feels like anything that is a 2-bed house to a small 3-bed is just flying, like no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
That sub 450 market, boom, off it goes. And then it feels like anything that's in and around the 550 to 650, 7, a little bit slower unless it's well priced, a little bit more competitive. Feels like maybe the stamp duty holiday, that 15 grand saving, the demand and the buyer activity, they jumped forward and capitalised on that saving, and that's a little bit lost where people moved already on that, and that maybe will change, but it feels like that's a little bit quieter. And then it feels the kind of 8 to like 1.2 market is still relatively strong if the property is unique. If it's just a high priced estate house, seems to sit. But if it's got a bigger garden, or it's got something that's a little bit different to it, or the vendors have blown out the back of it and it's got this wow factor kind of sexy open plan kitchen, it seems to move. And from what I hear from talking to people, the plus 5 million, 6 million sort of prime market is very, very active at the moment. So that's the read I get around the South. I don't know whether you guys agree or disagree on that, Mike.
Yeah, agree on the family house thing, that whilst interest rates were basically around 1%, people were overpaying for those 4-bed detached with a double garage in a road of 4-bed detached with a double garage because money was so cheap. They were just looking at, it's only going to cost me 1,200 quid, so I'll just buy it. I've seen house prices in that kind of category in certain estates really, really take a drop. Mm-hmm. But you're absolutely right. I've seen other houses that I've seen sold because they're back onto open fields, or there is something there that have sold for money that I can only describe as drug money.
Yeah.
Like, it's the only phrase I've got for it,
one,
where I've just been like, wow. And it's because that's someone's forever home. That's a 20-year move. So if you're overpaying by 50 grand or 100 grand on $1 million, you're looking at, but I want that house because I want to live there and only there. That's the reason for moving. I don't need the extra space. I just want that house. So over 20 years, you're going to live there from the age of 40 to 60. Again, it becomes a bit like a year or 2 years ago when people were buying 4-bedroom houses for £800,000. It's just like, well, it's not going to cost me that much more money over that period of time. It will just, you split a 75 grand overpayment over 20 years and it's 3.5 grand a year or something. It's not a lot.
And it's so true, because 2 weeks ago we had an absolutely spectacular, beautiful family home that's going to be somebody's for 15 years, just being finished inside. It's incredible. And £800,000 at the higher end in the area, sold for £50,000 more than what it was on the market for, because people wanted that house.
It's different.
100%. And it was very impressive. It was like, you look at it and just go, wow. Most people would look at it and go, I want to live there. Yeah. Even if you haven't got the money, like, I'll do something to get it. But that middle market, I also think that people feeling the pinch are probably because the average people moving are families, right?
Yep,
so
100%.
Big credit. They've got big credit.
That's the thing.
Right? Big debt.
Big debt, because
big monthly bills too.
Yeah.
2 kids in
one
schools.
One or 2 kids. One, maybe 2 people, working, paying, and they're going, right, well, mortgage rates are now £600 more a month for the same house I could have bought 2 years ago. I will make the 3-bed house work until I really have to move, or those mortgage rates come down. And if they are buying and making, because they have to, they're not paying $650 where they were before, they're offering $600.
Yeah.
And that's what we've seen in that bracket, where people sold overinflated, and fair enough to them 2 years ago when we're getting offers crazy over and getting $650. Living in that road now, you're probably 610, 615. And that's why.
I've got a lot of friends and family connections that I talk to that didn't move when the stamp duty holiday was there, but were talking to me about it, just kind of bottled it, or one thing led to another and they didn't do it, but they could afford to do it then, that now want to move but can't afford to move.
Yeah.
And they wish
even they'd be buying a cheaper house but can't afford to do it.
Yeah, exactly, because of the monthly interest rates. And I think that's probably that middle market and what's happened there. Yeah. So flipping that round through the homeowners to the buy-to-let eyes, my gut tells me at the moment, I drive through my own estate on the way home sometimes, and if I see a board, I think, that I'd love to have that 4-bed detached buy-to-let, which is by no means in my head the buy-to-let that I was sort of almost
not normal.
educated to go for. But actually the estate 4-bed detached that was 750 12 months ago, that's now on the market at 695, that I know would rent in 5 seconds for drug money rental prices.
and to
I'm not sure this is the best phrase to coin.
I use that quite a bit sometimes.
We've slaughtered Tesco's. We're talking drug money. What else can we bring up that's controversial today?
The thing is,
I can't believe this is going to get indexed interestingly on Google.
Estate agents talk about but those people as well, those families that are going to rent them, because there isn't enough of those homes for them out there, will likely stay there for a long time because of the good schools and the area.
Yeah,
and
I was wondering how we could segue into children to really bring it controversial, but
away from the drugs.
We'll just leave it as family home. We'll just leave it as
family homes, not children. But they will stay there for longer.
Yeah.
So your rental is just a much better prospect.
Hot property.
A hot property than buying something as a rental that's a 1-bed or 2-bed apartment near a town centre that less people want to live near or have the necessity to live near, and they're changing hands every year.
Yeah, and weird stat of the day is that buy-to-let rates are cheaper than residential mortgage rates, and have
60-40,
and have been for some time for competition reasons, I guess. Banks are keen to lend,
and I think to buy that 3-bed semi today at 425, that maybe was 450. It will take a fair bit of time for it to get back to the 450, but to buy the 695er for 680. Once a couple of years worth of the stamp duty wear off and the interest rates come back to low 3%, that'll pop straight back up to 750 because of the school runs and because of that element of it. So actually the equity growth, even on a medium/short-term basis for the 4-bed detached in the estate, is probably the pot of gold that someone may be looking for.
It's the sort of thing that can tick up by £50,000 overnight.
Yeah, just like that.
Just because it's the only one or it's something,
It's going to be a lot more limited to a 3-bed semi.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Dan. It's been an interesting chat, and I think probably people are taking a lot from it. And if you've got questions and comments for Dan or his business partner Neil, or you want to really know more about the Reading area and you want to buy to let in Shinfield Meadows or Arborfield, the new estate there, and you want to get that inside scoop from an expert, have a chat with Dan. It's been great having you on the episode, and we'll be back next week.